Good morning, colleagues, and welcome to the Planning and Housing Committee number 28. I'd like to acknowledge that Ottawa is located on unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation, whose culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. Il est important de souligner que la ville d'Ottawa se trouve sur un territoire non cédé de la nation algonquine Anishinaabe, dont la culture et la présence ont enrichi et continuent d'enrichir ces terres. Kelly, can I ask for a roll call, please?
Councillor Brockington. Councillor Curry. Here. Councillor Dudas.
I'm here.
Councillor Johnson. Here. Councillor Kavanaugh. Present. Councillor Kelly.
Present.
Councillor Kitts.
Here.
Councillor Lowe.
Here.
Councillor Tierney.
Present.
Councillor Troster. Here. Vice Chair Gower.
Here.
Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you very much. This is a public meeting to consider the proposed comprehensive official plan and zoning bylaw amendments listed as items 4.1 to 4.3 on today's agenda. For the items just mentioned, only those who make oral submissions today or written submissions before the amendments are adopted may appeal the matter to the Ontario Land Tribunal. In addition, the applicant may appeal the matter to the Ontario Land Tribunal if council does not adopt an amendment within 90 days of receipt of the application for a zoning bylaw amendment and 120 days for an official plan amendment. To submit written comments on these amendments prior to their consideration by City Council on May 29th, 2024, please email or call the committee or council coordinator. I'll blast through this. Are there any declarations of interest? No. Are the minutes of our meeting 27, Wednesday, May 8th, 2024 confirmed? There's an item, zoning bylaw amendment for 224 Preston Street. We have no public delegations on it. Staff are prepared to make a presentation if one is required. Did anyone anticipate, or would anyone like this held? Gillian Simpson and Jacob Bolduc from FOTEN. If the committee is prepared to carry this, do you still wish to speak? Thank you very much, colleagues. Is this item carried? The item at 1927 Maple Grove Road, there's no presentation. We don't have any delegations for it. Did members want this held? Tyler, if the committee is prepared to carry this, do you still wish to speak? Is that item carried? The item at 451 Smythe Road, we don't have a presentation. There are no delegations. Nadia and George, or sorry, did members want this held? No. It is very exciting. Nadia and George, if the committee is prepared to carry this, do you still wish to speak? Thank you very much. Is that item carried? The Transit Services Department 2024 O-Train Proximity Study Guidelines Update, expanding the geography to which those are applicable. Did any members wish to have this held?
Can we hear from it? Are we getting a presentation on that?
There was no presentation, but I know Mr. Morgan is in the room if you'd like to ask questions. Yes.
Hi, Michael.
Mr. Morgan, just for the sake of our thousands of viewers on YouTube, perhaps you could just provide a brief overview of what the proximity guidelines are and what the item that we're going to carry today is.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the proximity guidelines really deal with construction in and around the O-Train line. So we have existing O-Train lines, we have future O-Train lines. When a developer approaches the site, wants to build something close to it or over it or near it, the proximity guidelines basically give and outline the rules of engagement for how they need to work with us to identify if there's safety concerns, if there's hazards or mitigations that need to be put in place. The majority of the time, it's just development that's very close to the alignment. We do a crane swing agreement. We make sure the right safety controls are in place, and that's the end of it. In more complicated cases, such as a few years ago, Carlton did an overbuild with a parkade. Right now, the Ottawa Hospital is doing an overbuild with the parkade. There are more studies required, more engineering reviews to make sure it's done properly and safely. It doesn't affect current service, doesn't affect future service. So the guidelines basically provide a framework for how we engage with the developers to set in place and put in place the right safety controls and measures for that work to be done.
And what is the report today? Why is this in front of us now?
So the report today is really just an update. The report's been in place for a number of years, a policy essentially for dealing with the O train line. This includes an extension of the map to cover all of stage 2 as well as the future stage 3 alignment. It's an update. The policy is quite old, so it's just really a refresh and providing new clarity on the procedures.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kavanaugh.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And thank you, Michael, for coming out today. This is really important to Bay Ward because stage 2 is the line on the west side that is incredibly close to these stations, and development is a good thing to be close by. I just want to reiterate, there's one concern, and that was with the Moody station, where it was deemed to be there shouldn't be development around it because it's green space. And I just want to confirm that that's the case for the Moody station.
So, Mr. Chair, in respect of this specific policy, this is only dealing with construction in and around the stations and in and around the guideway. So it has nothing to do with green space policy or rules of engagement, rules limiting development. This is really just about safety and construction around the alignment.
Okay, for just for safety purposes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's important that we have development at the other stations, close to the stations. That's the whole point, is that we want people to be in walking distance of stations. When you go to other cities, stations are right there. And I think that's important. So I appreciate the report. And I just wanted to say that hope to continue working together on the development, because it's got to go hand in hand with the connectivity. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, I'd just be remiss. I did invite Parsons to attend. Parsons worked on the file for a couple of years, helping us draft the document and update the file. So Paul Croft and his colleague are here today to answer questions about the technical piece if required, but I don't suspect there'll be too many.
We'll see if that prediction bears out. Councillor Kitts.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. I know that the proximity study and the supporting studies will be determined at the pre-consultation. What happens if the province does away with pre-consults?
So currently we, anytime a pre-consult or the actual development application comes in, that's when the development file comes with the associated pieces. In terms of the pre-consult, I'd have to review that specific element, but typically we're pretty far into the development review process when this proximity guideline gets engaged. So we're already into construction means and methods by the time we get to this point.
Right. I thought that the level, like there's the determining of the levels, like level 1A, minimal, level 3, you know, except I thought that got determined at the pre-consult. So I'm just worried, like if that step is removed, where it gets baked into the process.
We'll have to take that away and review that with the planning
Mr.
team.
Chair, if I might. Mr. Chair, elimination of pre-consultation. No, I shouldn't put it that way. Elimination of mandatory pre-consultation does not eliminate the need for any study. All the studies that are required for an application to be deemed complete continue to be required. And if I may say, it is to an applicant's loss if they do not come in for pre-consultation, because they won't know the studies that are required, and it'll end up, in my opinion, slowing down the process for an applicant. But the studies continue to be required, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to know also, I know there's a myriad of studies that would be required. Is particular attention being paid to clay soils in the East End?
So each application will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. For our scenario, for the East End, when we think about stage 2, because the alignment is in the middle of the highway, there would actually be very few proximity studies kind of essentially required to work near the alignment.
Right. Okay. So that the development is going to happen outside that buffer. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kitts. Councillor Brockington?
Thank you, Chair. Just one quick question with respect to the update. This is from this day forward and not retroactive in any way?
Correct.
Okay. Similar to other colleagues, there's an ongoing matter in River Ward with a private developer, the city LRT team, and I want to make sure this does not impact the outcome of that dispute. And you're saying it will not?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brockington. Councillor Dudas?
I apologize because I know you had said it, but I just wanted to fully understand. This also would extend to stage 3. Is that correct?
Correct. The map that's included as in the appendix does include stage 3. And then there is a slightly different process for stage 3 properties because there's no active rail line there. It's more about protection, but there is a kind of a cursory review that would need to be done to make sure we're not prohibiting future development of stage 3.
So you just hit on my point. I was asking about that, being that there is no active construction. So you are looking at potential interactions between development that comes up even before construction commences, the extension takes place. How does that work? Is it just the same as the process that you've outlined for stage 2, stage 1? Or are you going to,
Yes.
because the development would happen right next to the potential line, but what if something changes with that line? So I'm just assuming you're just taking that all into account as you move forward?
Correct. It's just for the future stage 3, it's just about protecting the corridor and it's less about construction means and methods.
Okay. This is, I know with the catenary lines and all the underground wires and all of the extra equipment that comes with the train, are you also taking into account BRT sections? Because once again, I'm thinking well past my time, but once again, if we ever wanted to extend the line to stage 4 or 5, future extensions, we might want to look to our BRT lines for those natural pieces. Is that taking this into account, or is that just too far down in the future?
Mr. Chair, that's currently not considered, but it could be as part of a future update. If there was a desire to add that to the proximity guidelines, that could be done.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dudas. Do any other members have questions for Mr. Morgan? I don't see any further hands. Is the report carried? Thank you. We have no in-camera items today. The cashing of parkland balances were distributed as an information item. There were no notices of motion. Do any members have inquiries? I don't see any. We have no other business. We are adjourned. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, June 5th, 2024.
Wow, June. Thank you, Chair.